Bam.
This is Brett Allan, and you're watching the Break It Down show.
You gotta love it, man. You gotta love it. You gotta love it when surprises happen. And my buddy Brett Allan is on the show, and Brett is a cool dude. He's got his own show called Get This, the Brett Allan Show. Before we get too far in, look at who just popped into the feed.
Oh boy,
got Super Joe.
I feel like I've been set up.
Yeah, Brett seemed super excited when he saw our faces. He's like, oh boy.
No, man, listen. So one of the things I wanted to do was just celebrate how great you're doing. You moved. We were neighbors, Benicia, Vacaville area. You know where you were at, where I'm from, and you moved up to Colorado. And I just think your show is going gangbusters. You're doing such a great job with it. You're getting picked up by local news coverage, and I just wanted to say, hey, man, you're doing awesome things, and it's not easy to get where you're at. This business that we're in, I don't know if you guys know, but Jason Bateman is our competition, and among all these people, right. So you're doing a hell of a job. I'm going to shut up and let Joe and then Larry say a couple of nice things about you.
Well, thank you. That's very kind.
It's like a reunion here.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's so good to see all of you guys here. Oh God, it's been so crazy. Brett, it is so awesome seeing every time you're posting. I see your post on Facebook. These from between the guests and the accolades, the growth in your YouTube channel and the podcast, your skills. It's just awesome, man. It's just awesome. I'm glad I was able to pop on and be here.
Yeah, thank you. And I have to say, I mean, it's because of all of your support, really, that I've been able to do the things that I do, giving me opportunities. Larry doing a few episodes with me, The Real Housewives of Dallas during the pandemic. So, so thank you guys for your kind words. We're all in this together, and I'm just figuring it out, day by day as I go along, what works and what doesn't. So
we all are, Brett. Anybody that tells you otherwise is lying to you.
I'll chime in too, and just say, Brett, it's been fun. What is it, 3 years, I guess, something like that, to watch your development as an interviewer and your ability to reach, like real stars. I remember when you first started, you were having people on the show that we may not have known who they were, and they may have had a little supporting role here or there, but now we literally see you interviewing the stars, like the A-listers. It's been amazing to watch you grow in that arena, and I know how difficult it is, because when you first started, I was like, man, I want to do that. That's so cool. And then, you hooked me up with a couple of guests that were people that I had no idea who they were. And I was like, man, I don't know if I want to go down this road and go through all these people that I don't know to get to the people that I do want to talk to, but, you had that dedication, that drive, and that desire to actually, put in the work that needs to be put in to get to where you are today. And it's just been amazing to watch that. It's been inspirational. And I'm happy that I've been able to watch it from afar. So congratulations on all your success and continued success in 2023 as well.
Thank you. Again, that just means the world to have you guys say that. I think to have the support of your peers doing this is really the best thing that you could have or want, really, because, although we're doing it because we like it and enjoy it, we also... that support is helpful because it helps you realize that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. And, my show has changed a lot since I started. It's all kinds of different things, but I feel like now it's the first time where I'm really comfortable in my skin as a person to do this. And I have miles and miles to go, for sure. But it feels nice to be able to be here and see you guys. I was not expecting it at all. I'll be honest. Yeah. It's like a Chris Hansen moment, but in a good way.
You're already having a seat, so I won't ask you to have a seat over there.
Which he has been on my show before, and people thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah. I became a fan of his show because of you.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't know he had a podcast. I mean, it's been a little while since I've listened because it's tough. It's tough to listen to these stories. It kind of gets in your head a bit, but for a while there, I was binging like every episode.
Yeah, well, he's got a live show now that he's doing where it's interesting. He's really taken this idea and figured out that, it doesn't have to be network television anymore. He can just do things the way that he wants to do it. And yeah, he's got a live show that he's doing at the Venetian Hotel for like a month where I don't know what the show is necessarily. I think he's just talking about some of these stories that he's told, and his own stories too about some of the struggles that he's faced as a public figure and sort of been able to overcome that too, and being a parent and a husband. So
it's got. I mean, I know he talked about him being on South Park, or being joked on South Park before in his show. But that's got to be tough because that's like literally like a stage show, like with audience and everything. And if you've seen the South Park episode,
Yeah, it's crazy. Like he was making the rounds there for a while, with all the fighter and the kid, and Theo Von show, and he's really, this whole thing has taken on a life of its own. But anyway, I digress. Yeah, I love you guys. I appreciate you, and yeah, it's exciting to be in a place where you feel like you're enjoying what you're doing, and you're experiencing success by no means other than just the hard work and the support of you guys and everybody else in the community. So thank you.
Oh, thank you, Brett.
Oh, man.
Appreciate it.
You've had Daniel Radcliffe on the show, and just perspective what that is. It's like having Daniel Craig on the show, except for the only guy who does what the Harry Potter role is Daniel Radcliffe. He is the face.
Yeah.
Franchise. I mean, so there's Daniel Craig's got to share the spotlight with Roger Moore and Sean Connery. This is someone who's fronted the biggest franchise ever.
Yeah.
And it's not like, I get like Marvel has probably made more money, more movies, but there's not a single character. Like this is the biggest guy that you could possibly get in acting. I mean, there's no more A-list than Daniel Radcliffe. Holy shit, man. So everybody should go check out the Brett Allan Show. It's fantastic. You have guests like this on all of the time.
Yeah, that I had worked on that for a little over a year. I had just reached out to his publicist for something else that he was doing. He had a show, or has a show, with Steve Buscemi, and they were doing press for that. And yeah, we communicated back and forth his PR for a year. And then this Roku film, Weird, the Al Yankovic story, had come about, and it was a parody show. It started out as a Funny or Die skit several years ago and morphed into, a thing. And I kept just on top of him. And that's the thing, is persistence with this is key. Maintaining good relationships. I had taken on a few of his other clients sort of along the way. And then the opportunity came to get on the junket for that particular film. So yeah, it was very cool. It was a very surreal moment. I don't typically get nervous with these folks, generally speaking, but the press junkets can be a bit more intense because it's just very structured and organized. Not a lot of time. You just have to go in and, get down and dirty. And I wouldn't say I was starstruck, but I was just a little nervous because I was like, and you're watching on the other side because they're timing you and giving you time cues as well. So you have like 5 minutes, but really that equates to like 3 from start to finish. So if they tell you have 10, that's like 7 or 8, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, it was a super nice guy. And oh God, here we go.
Oh, look at that, top of the
This
food
is
chain.
definitely not. Wow. I feel like this is an intervention of some kind, of some sort.
Brett, you've been talking to celebrities, but this has got to stop. This has got to stop.
Celebrity rehab.
Yeah, there you go.
Welcome Eric Hunley to the show. Eric also has a badass YouTube channel. And again, like the whole point of this thing was obviously we want to talk to Brett about his fantastic show. But also we just want to spread some love around because look, the podcast world, Larry and I talked about this. Podcast world's very like, oh, you don't understand how good my show is. I've never listened to your show. It's very dismissive of our peers, right? But I wanted to kind of shake that paradigm for a little bit. And so what I'm asking Eric to do now is to tell Brett a couple great things about Brett. Fill his heart full of love here.
Eric and I are OGs, by the way. I have to say, we started out at the same time. We exchanged
2018
we exchanged guests. Well, more so the guests I gave him, they never responded or backed out.
He made out all right.
I think he's doing fine.
I mean, Chase Hughes, Jody. I mean, a lot of these people we connected with simultaneously early on. Larry, he introduced me to Larry. So yeah, so I owe a lot of it to Eric as well. Just we used to do collabs there for a while when he was just doing audio, but now he's got how many YouTube channels do you have now?
I have 4 channels.
4 channels. Is that including the one that you had to rebuild from scratch, which you rebuilt quite fast?
2 of them.
Okay.
Well, it's okay. I'll be really fast. I have my main channel. Did a show that was going to do monthly with somebody called Mark Robert. Great dude, amazing storyteller. People dug it. He got a hold of me. He said, I'm going to die before I get all these stories out. We need to pick it up. So, okay. So I spun that out as another channel with just him and I. America's Untold Stories. It lived for about 3 weeks. Was blowing up, doing great. I had, I don't know, like 1,600 subs or something in very little time. And boom, it got taken out completely by copyright claims. So then I said, okay, screw it. Built the channel again. It was 3 weeks. Rebuilt that up. Won the initial copyright claim. That became Layback News. And then I started another channel with Nate the Lawyer. So that's kind of where everything is.
Are you ready to retire yet, though? That's my question.
No. My latest challenge is Nate and Eric, newest channel. I'm at 9,718 subs. Be awesome to make it to that 10K at the end of the year. I don't know.
Wow, dude, that's amazing. That is so crazy to see that kind of success, dude. That's so amazing.
We're working it. I mean,
no, I know. It's just that's awesome, dude. I'm so happy for you.
Yeah, well, look at you, jet setting Larry.
Yeah,
I know.
Try to act like I know what I'm talking about. That's about it. But you're proving you know what you're talking about with all these subs and all these channels. It's just cool to see. I was telling Brett earlier before you jumped on the call how awesome it is to see that level of dedication and persistence, and how 3 years later it's paying off in droves. It's just amazing to watch everybody's growth here.
Yeah,
and everybody has different directions too.
Yeah,
I think it's kind of cool. Like Joe and I sort of veered to YouTube. And Joe even ran a podcast conference, for God's sake. So
I still do.
Well, allegedly
in 2023, baby, we're back.
I know it's like live. Nope, virtual, live. Oh, we're all gonna stay at Joe's house on his compound. Oh, we can't. COVID restrictions for New Jersey. We didn't make it. I will be at your house next year, one way or the other.
2023, we got, man. We're here.
I call the garage couch.
September.
I want the couch in the garage by the pinball machine.
You got it. It's yours.
All of a sudden, Joe's doing a Shark Tank reaction video, and you see Larry get up in his boxers in the blurred background.
Oh, that'd be good.
Eric, you owe Brett some words of love. Why don't you?
Here we go.
I mean, Brett. Okay, Brett is probably the nicest of us all. That's the best way I can put it. Is if I was going to say we're late night hosts, he's Jimmy Fallon. Everybody likes him. He's laughing. He's having a good time. Doesn't want to get into the drama. His show, his methodology is to come through, have a little bit of fun, very much a late night formula. And I love that he found that as his lane.
Yeah.
Brett's a incredibly positive person. He's competing with Randy Jones for like positivity matrix. It works. It works really well, and look how it's gone. I mean, I don't even know anybody who books the kind of guests. He gives Jordan Harbinger a run for his money.
That's saying a lot. And I do feel good sometimes when I see that we've had a similar guest. Not that our audiences are the same by any means, but it's fun to see, people that he's had that I've had also, even like the more like maybe the authors or whatever, when I was doing authors, having those kinds of conversations. So it's cool. I appreciate the kind words. He even reached out to me at one point and was asking me questions about my show and stuff, which I found rather interesting. That he was asking me, and I'm like, I should be asking you questions.
No, that's to his credit. I know Jordan, and to a degree, I mean, we're not like tight writing every day, but Jordan places ads on all kinds of podcasts. So he's probably trying to find out about your show, seeing, hey, you're getting all these celebrities in here. Let me slide a Jordan Harbinger ad or put you in the possible pool. So I'm pretty sure that's what he was doing, is looking to place an ad, which is a statement, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, here's a successful show. Maybe I should be advertising on it.
I mean, not to brag or anything, but Jordan gave me COVID.
Okay. Congrats.
Nice. That's
probably not directly, but everybody I know that went to his session at Bitcoin Miami earlier this year got COVID. So I'm blaming it on Jordan Harbinger.
At Bitcoin Miami?
What's that?
Did you say Bitcoin Miami?
Yeah, Bitcoin Miami.
Oh my. He's falling off the deep end. Oh.
Wow. Well, thank you for the kind words.
Brett, you got picked up by local news as a contributor. Talk about that. That's also a big win.
Yeah. So when I moved here over the summer, I had before I got here, I was looking at like Comic-Con type events to cover and that sort of thing. And there happened to be Denver Fan Fest, which is a Comic-Con. And that happened like, I don't know, 2 weeks after I moved here to Colorado. And I got connected with a local agency that's kind of sort of they do public relations, and she connected me with somebody here who does local news. And so they're looking for somebody who can do entertainment type reporting like twice a month. So I sent them a demo reel, and after the first of the year, we're going to sit down and look at what we could possibly do to cover for their major network, because they don't do a lot of pop culture, because nobody at the station there is really like into it. They're all half my age, millennial, cool people, but they're looking for somebody who can do that. So we've had a few conversations, and we're going to start meeting after January and February, and they're going to essentially, it will be virtual, but essentially what it will do is it'll help me get my foot in the door further with some of the more larger spectrum type junkets for like films, major network films, which are the hardest to get a part of. The local stuff like Amazon, Apple, that's all been quite easy. But yeah, so that's going to start in January, and then once or twice a month we'll be doing coverage for. And then if there's something in Denver too that's really popular, like maybe a Cirque du Soleil or something like that, there's the potential of having to cover that. So that's what that's all about.
Awesome. Is this a full-time gig, contract, or?
It'll be contract for now, just, sort of a one-off. I think it's like $75-$80 a spot, just to kind of sort of the Peter Parker method, I want better photos. So that's what it's going to kind of be, that just sort of like, let's see what you can do. I'm in the process of making some changes with audio type stuff, and kind of figuring out ways to tighten things up a little bit more and make it as best as I possibly can. But yeah, but essentially when you're a part of like something like that, there is a better opportunity, because then you have a producer who can get through the gatekeepers for you versus me just doing it all by myself, which I've been very fortunate and successful, I think, so far. But to be able to get, it's a whole thing, but they're essentially, there's different tiers of reporting. I would be a tier 2 or 3, which isn't bad just to even be in one of those tiers, but tier 1 would be like major outlet news, having the backing of somebody who, this is going to get triple the reach because it's local network television. So yeah, it'll be cool to see how it works out. Again, these things take forever to get going, but it's definitely a go. It's just a timing thing at this point. Obviously with the holidays, it'll be a little bit to start it up. So
cool.
Yeah.
I'm not making you guys do my work, but I'm just trying to stay out of the way because I got enough to do in the background, and I'm positive you guys all have questions. So
I was sitting here going, did we just boot Pete from his own show?
I know. It's that's funny.
It's everybody break it down show. Yeah. But no, man, this is a great win for you, and who knows where this leads, right? I mean, people who do this kind of reporting and coverage, they get picked up for other things, and they're running their own show. You're standing up in front of a camera. Who knows, right? Where do you think this is going?
I don't really know. Like Eric will tell you, like over the years, and these other guys too, that we've known each other, I finally feel like I know the direction that I want to take my show. So I'm just dreaming big. I don't really know, where it goes. I've had lots of opportunities over the years that often present themselves that sometimes just don't wind up going anywhere, which is perfectly fine. But these folks seem to be the most interested. So I don't know. I mean, I think deep down, I always wanted to do entertainment reporting of some kind.
He's going to be on Entertainment Tonight before you know it.
Within
2 years.
I have a lot of things that I would have to fix for that, but
you'd be surprised how quickly they come together when you're actually having to produce. So, I mean, if you have that motivation, like, okay, I see this window, I have this goal, and then you mentioned you have a producer. Well, how much do you think you're going to pick up on just having that second set of eyeballs on your team, constantly saying, okay, you're doing this, and it seeps in your head, you're going to improve your performance level before you even know it. So don't rule it out.
No, and it's all because of the pandemic and stuff, that this virtual stuff really kind of took off. But that's not to say that I would not be opposed to doing things live if I could. I think if you're asking the next step, I get invited to these premiere things all the time, but because I'm here and it requires traveling and being a part of something that takes time and is, I'm figuring out how to be able to do that, to maybe travel to LA for a day or two, do these things live. That's, I think, the next step for me this next year is figuring out ways to be able to commute between here and Los Angeles, do these junkets in person, and that's the next thing, is to get the live on camera experience next. And being able to sit down with said celebrity of a film and have a 5-minute conversation that is succinct and covers the film and also has a little bit of fun too, because those are very much the same. Now it's just sitting in a virtual queue run by a company for the studio, but being able to do that live, I think that's what's next. And
maybe, I don't know, it may stick with that, but I was thinking, if only you knew anybody who might run a conference or work with a conference, some kind, podcasting or whatever. I don't know, but like maybe you could do stuff there or something, or short interviews, or
I mean, I've got the equipment. It's just it's just saying I'll do it in person versus, I mean, the virtual stuff is cool, but we'll see. I need to get more of that experience of doing it. Red carpet type stuff, I think, is next too. which I have Paley Fest in March that I'll be doing. So
How
that'll
about
be
comedians in Denver? Do you have an association with any club there that you could hook up
not
with and
yet.
just do a 5-minute hit?
I'm working on that. I've been working on that, but those guys are kind of tough to work with. Those promoters and club owners, they're not like, there's always like sort of, it's being able to offer equal value on both sides instead of me just going, hey, can I come to your club and interview, Anthony Jeselnik? It's like, well, what are you going to do for us?
Well, you're doing a local show that might.
Yeah, that's the thing. So
nicely.
I think that's where this Denver stuff, that's where this local news stuff, I think that's what it's going to be probably to start too, is just sitting down with one of these comics at a club before their performance and interviewing them that way. So I think that there's a few different ways to go. So I'm brainstorming all of that and figuring out the best and effective way to do it on all fronts, whether it's financial or just making it happen. But I think it will happen. It's just, for sure.
It'd be super cool to see you at Podfest in January, man. I think that'd be an excellent opportunity for you to get out there and get in the mix and get known within a little bit more within the community itself, and also give you that opportunity to do live interviews on the spot and even kind of hone your skills a little bit.
Yeah.
If you're interested, let me know and we'll make it happen. But keep in mind too that Podcast Movement is in Denver in August, so there's a big opportunity for you there as well.
Yeah, I saw that. That's probably the one that's going to be here would probably be the most feasible to do. But we'll talk about that. That would be good.
Hey, sure. Brett, here's my offer to support you. If you have a road thing for LA, you can store it at my house. I'll store your gear for you. And when all you got to do is fly into John Wayne, which is 10 minutes from my house, and you wouldn't have to worry about traveling with that stuff. That may or may not be valuable to you, but I can.
No, it would be. Yeah. So with those live interviews, I think everything is pretty well provided. You just have to show up, and then they'll shuffle you into the room. It's all done at the Four Seasons in Beverly Hills. That's where 90% of those conversations take place. So they're if you go back and look at all my interviews for the junkets, all the hotel rooms look the same, and it's the Four Seasons in Beverly Hills.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So they're providing the recording.
All you do is just show up. I pop in. Slate. It's Brett with the Brett Allan Show. We're chatting with Dwayne The Rock about his new film Black Adam.
Do you bring your own mic flag? Because you might have your own mic flag, I guess, for the microphone. But yeah,
if I'm doing a red carpet, yeah, I'll have a mic flag and a mic because I've OCD'd purchased mics over the years, so I have a lot of different things laying around. So, yeah.
Anyway, but Joe, I believe they have to do that because one, it's a churn and burn. They're like running an entire cast of a show. Then you're going to have the other problem of this newscaster saying that they're getting better coverage or they're allowed to put their lights over here or do this or do that. So it's like, no, tough shit. But throw your labels on the bottom. You put your personality here, sit down, get your interview. You got 3 minutes out.
Yeah, it's like
yeah. I mean, it makes a lot of sense.
Are you excited for this film? And do you think that this is going to make a turn for the DC universe? Which clearly it didn't, by the way, because they fired everybody. But that's a side note. As soon as James Gunn came in, he cleaned house. And
they not only fired Brett, they went back in time and they said DC universe stopped at Richard Donner for Superman.
They unslated every project.
And Burton for Batman. So they went all the way back to the 80s. They're like, nothing's happened. Screw you, Nolan. You're out too.
They unslated everybody.
Yeah, don't even get me started.
Yeah, that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, don't even get me started.
So I think that to answer your question, Pete, I think that's where I'd like to see things go next year, trying to get that experience of showing up in person, because it's essentially the same and it would be very easy to do. Just say I want to be in person versus doing it via Zoom and spending a few days in LA doing meetings and recording with people. So
this is an interesting thing because part of what we all have to deal with is discovery and remaining in you and servicing the algorithm. I had my cousins on last night and they have this really provocative rock band. And I wrote down in the description, that they were models, because they're twins, they're blondes, they're models, but they're also musicians, right? And then
what are their names? I'm sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
Hanson?
Music, Mother Music, yeah. And
Hanson.
the other thing is that
Hanson.
oh, you shouldn't put model in there, not for you focused. I'm like, I'm not writing that for you. I'm writing that for the damned robot, so that
Yeah.
all of these values are in there, and you're talking about a 3-minute interview with whoever you get on the red carpet. In reality, what Snapchat, what YouTube, what all these different channels want are like 60 seconds tops, 15 seconds prime. And that's what they push forward. I can chop my show into little bits and people will spin that. They don't watch my big show because they don't got, I don't know, they just don't do it for an hour. So how do you work on your discoverability?
Well, what has happened for me is with these press junkets that I've been doing, I'm only allotted a certain amount of time to conduct the interview, 5-7 minutes, 10 tops. So when I am going out looking for other people just to interview, whether it's somebody I find interesting from a show, most of my conversations now are 10, 12, 15 minutes tops, sometimes even less. It feels like a long time, but it's really not. It's very short. And if you go, one of the things I did is I watched Fallon, I watched Kimmel, I watched Corden, and I watched their interviews, and most of their segments are about 8 minutes long. But it feels like forever because they're having a really good conversation. And so there's that. So I keep it short. YouTube Shorts now has been really good. Just putting snippets up. Those seem to get discovered a lot more. I don't understand YouTube. I don't know how it works. I gain subscribers, but then most of my views are non-subscribers. They're just people that sort of find my show, whether it's by a title. I use TubeBuddy to help tighten all of that up. But now, as far as the audio side, that's where I've had the most success. I had said that I was going to stop doing audio, but I reserve the right to change my mind. I think I can do it to where I can tool it to where it doesn't take as much time. I can do the YouTube portion and then just turn it into an audio format and just load it up through my C-suite. So, but it's just, a lot of it is just how I maybe title something. But because it's something that's current and that that's relevant as far as like a show and stuff, that seems to be where my traction comes from. Like I just did a junket for the new Night Court reboot coming out in January on Peacock. And so that there's already a lot of that out there. So I think it just kind of, I don't know. There's a term, trend jacking, I think is what it is, where you can just kind of get on the train of what's already there. And through TubeBuddy, it just sort of discovers what people are searching. And that's what I put in there. Even though hashtags don't necessarily help with discoverability, it's more, I think, if people misspell something that they're looking for.
The tags are irrelevant. Yeah.
I don't know if that answers your question, but just getting it out as far as I can. If the guest shares it, but these little, as far as like the audiograms, I don't really do those anymore. It's mostly just I figured out a way to sort of stack it. TikTok, I've done okay, but YouTube Shorts or Facebook Reels, I've had a lot of success with that more than the others. And that's where a lot of stuff gets discovered. And then they'll either come over and sub to the channel, or sometimes they'll do really good. And sometimes they'll just be like, 2 views, which I don't understand again, but most of what I get is most of what I get is just non-subscriber views. I'd say 95%. If I went and looked at my analytics, I would say 95% is just people who discover it because they're looking for somebody, or it just pops up, on their For You page. Yeah. I don't know if
that's not bad. That's not a bad thing.
No,
no, it's not
growth, right? Like
yeah,
viewers
absolutely
is way more important than having the every subscribe your totality of viewership being just your subscribers, because that means you're not growing.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, the more my views keep going up, so I'm just I just package everything just in a short amount of time. Like for me, long form, 30, 40, 50 minutes just doesn't, that's a long time for me to have a conversation with somebody. Even if I find them the most interesting. I mean, it's different with us. We're talking shop, we're having fun. It's a very easy conversation. But if somebody's there to promote something, usually it's like, we'll say Noah Wiley comes to mind about his new show on Prime. It's like he's there to talk about that. And then we'll talk about his career a little bit at the end if we have time. Yeah. But usually
it's like you have to deal with authors on that. There's
I mean, there's very
specific
specific guidelines. Yeah. Like they're there to talk about the show, keep it show focused. But usually I can get somebody comfortable enough to where they'll maybe talk about sort of how they got their start. I kind of like to hear about that too. But it's just consistency, I think, is where most of the success has been. Is just keeping it going and not stopping, and even little breaks are okay, but I've got stuff that I have to push out, before too late.
One of the things I think you're especially good at is the pre-production side, right? Like the interviewing thing, we all see that and we know you're good at that, but to get the relationships with the PR firms to put your show in a position where they can say yes to it, where you're marketable to them, that's an enormous thing. Like people always ask, and I know you guys all get the same question: how do you get all these amazing guests? And it's not just the guest, it's not just the email, it's a year struggle to get Daniel Radcliffe on your show. Yeah. Talk a little bit about that muscle. That like you have big biceps for your book.
Thank you. Well, it's just like you said, building relationships with these publicists. There's probably 8 or 9 consistently that do everything, whether it's a film or a television show. Like there's the PR for the network. Like I'll send emails out and they know it's me, and then they'll just pass it on to the PR team that's managing that project. And it's just it's not necessarily, it's just providing value on both sides. Like it's not necessarily numbers necessarily. You're
selling yourself short. It's a way I said that you're like the Jimmy Fallon. The truth is, Brett, you're easy to talk to, and you've proven yourself to be reliable to them.
Yeah.
You don't piss off anybody you interview, or they enjoy their time with you and they're comfortable. So that has put you on a little bit of a green list or a default to where
for them. So they'll go, we'll ask.
Throw another. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
we'll
like
ask.
Time you'll get them.
Yeah. We'll ask, or they're not available right now. With the film and television side of things, that's taken a lot more time to, they're more interested in like reach, and they want the video type stuff. The audio stuff is cool, but what sells on that side is the video side of things. So again, it's just getting to know them, being kind, being nice, and thankful for the opportunities. And at this point, they usually they'll email me with an opportunity and they'll say, "Are you interested?" And I'll say yes. And then they'll go out to the PR teams for approvals for talent. That's how it works. And then the PR teams will either approve me or deny me. And I hear a lot of no's, but I hear a lot of yeses too. And again, it just, I've built a good relationship with people. I'm not a jerk. I don't get pissy with who they offer me. If they offer me a director, I'll take a director, because then the next time,
some of your no's, I bet you, have become yeses because
they
have.
Nobody's
asking about the co-star, and you're like, "I'll take the co-star."
Yeah, I'll take.
And then now the co-star is the star.
Yeah, I'll take the showrunner. I'll take the writers. Absolutely. I mean, I interviewed the Echo 3 on Apple TV. The creator of that show also did. He wrote the Bourne films. He wrote the Hurt Locker. Mark Boyle, I think. And I was like, hell yeah, absolutely, I'll talk to this guy, even if it's for 5 minutes. That dude is an Academy Award. I mean, he's worked with some of the best. So that's not necessarily an opportunity that I could have gotten on my own, maybe. But then these PR people get to know you, and they know your name and they know your show. So it's easier when the studio connects you with the PR, because there's a good chance that I've worked with them before on something. It's a very small pond. Like there's maybe, as I said, 10, 12 PR agencies that run everything, that either have talent active or don't. Sometimes I'll send a DM, on Instagram, or just a message, and then they might say yes or direct me. I mean, the relationships with like NBC and CBS, those have just taken years to build. And now, they are like, hey, we have star X and Y from Chicago PD or All Chicago Press Day. Here's your invite. And then they just turn me loose. So it's cool. I mean, again, it's just taken a long time to build, and then when they see that, and then when I pitch people, I shared this before, it's like a resume that I'm sending out to these people. Saying this is what I can do. These are the names that I've had, and I absolutely leverage that to get the next person. I'd be stupid not to. And that's just something that it works. And they go, oh, he's had recognizable names, so we know he's not going to fan out or ask them something stupid about the current situation in our country and just tube the interview.
And this all goes back to what I was saying earlier, your persistence and your dedication to take whoever it is that they present to you and have that type of conversation. That, I mean, I wish this was captured so that people could listen to this like in an educational type format. I wish you were giving this presentation at a conference or something like that, because
I have before. I did it for Joe a few times. I did it for
And I think this could get you on stages across the country, honestly, giving this story and giving this insight to show that the persistence and the time invested and the openness to interview anybody and everybody, understanding that can establish a relationship that blossoms into something more down the road. I mean, that's extremely valuable information. I don't know how many times I get asked, how do I get so-and-so on my show? How do I get these big names on my show? How do I just get guests on my show? And Brett, you've literally laid out a roadmap to get whoever you want on your show. I mean, this is something that you could, I think you could monetize this actually if you wanted to do a course.
You should, because you have names that nobody else has.
There's an opportunity here that you could leverage.
Talk about that. I wouldn't know how to monetize. See, that's the thing, is like,
this is what you're monetizing, the knowledge and the experience and the skills that you set forth over the last 3 to 4 years establishing all these relationships. I mean, that's extremely valuable. And there are so many people out there that want to know exactly how to do it. And you've built the roadmap.
Let's put it this way, Brett. Your name drops are your value proposition.
Yeah.
Because let's look at it. You go to any podcaster who's been out there for a few years. You name one of them that can drop the list of names you have down besides Pete. I know you're back there, Pete. I know about your list. So you can teach the same class. I got you. You can go back into hiding.
Brett's had Harry freaking Potter. How do you get Harry freaking Potter on your podcast? Brett can tell you how.
Right. And okay. And you think of all the courses that you've looked at over the years, Brett, and thought about paying for, about how to get the best guests in the world. And then you go to the podcaster and you see who they've interviewed and you name one of them who has your resume, who has your name list. Name one. And that is unbeatable. That's an unbeatable proposition. That's like a blowing John Lee Dumas out of the water proposition, because yours is just name. No, I'm just saying, if you take that, package it, because you're talking about celebrities, you're talking about mainstream media, which a lot of people always say, oh, who cares? That's old. Oh, I'm going to be on the news today. So let's be honest here. You're close enough crossing over.
Eric dropped JLD and Joe jumped into his defense, but I got to tell you, you have the opportunity to build your own podcaster's paradise and literally blow him out of the water, because, I mean, JLD has built a tremendous empire. We'll call it an empire. I was going to say enterprise, but He's built something massive, and congratulations to him for doing that. but you've done it on a pop media scale. You've done it on a what do we call it? I can't even think of the term right now. I don't know, celebrity type scale. But
it's
you
pop
have
culture.
Pop culture.
Which
That was
crosses
exactly what I
over
was looking for.
everything.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Eric. I couldn't get culture out for some reason, but you've built it on a scale that's relatable to many, many, many more people than JLD. JLD's targeted on businesses. I mean, all 330 million Americans that are out there love movies, love TV. They love wasting their time. And you have the opportunity to leverage that and monetize it, dude. You've got a tremendous opportunity in front of you that I'd love to see you take advantage of. And you owe it to yourself, and you deserve it. You put in the work. Now it's time to reap the rewards.
No, I was just saying phrasing because you're blowing JLD out of the water.
You know what, Joe?
That's why I said
my mind didn't even go there. But
I
know.
I didn't. I would have never thought about that.
I'm the perv here, and I didn't even get that. So.
Wow.
No, I wasn't. It wasn't about the name dropping of JLD. I was just saying, like, phrasing.
Hilarious.
All right.
There you go. Thank you very much.
Family friendly over here.
On that note, folks, I do have to run. I've got another medical appointment. I managed to break my wrist Thanksgiving weekend. So, yeah, what a treat.
Too much turkey, too much
Everybody
of this.
go check out Eric Hunley's all of his multiple channels on YouTube. He crushes it. You do a great job, Eric. We need to do a love session for you too in early 2023. Thanks, man. I think you're coming on the show.
Thank you, Eric.
Great seeing you, Eric.
Good seeing you guys.
Great to see you, Eric. We got to catch up.
Get the fuck out of my studio. All right. Come out. This is fun, man. I really dig it. Hey, Brett, do you want to ask us any questions before we run out of time? Because you got, look, if you guys don't know, if you're watching, Joe Pardo is a badass, has a huge hit channel. He talks about the folks who pitch on Shark Tank. Awesome, right? You have Brett, who's booking people like Daniel Radcliffe and Noah Wiley. Okay, awesome. And you have Larry flying all over the nation, teaching people about these things. And you hear him giving advice to Brett. So these are some heavy hitters to be able to ask questions of. Brett, what do you want to ask these guys?
Well, I guess for both of you is how all these great things that we've been saying, like, I suppose figuring out what the next step is to actually figure out a way to compress it into a course and to monetize it. I've had better luck with Podfest than I have with the other. It's one door I can't seem to get into.
From getting in with these conferences, it's persistence, and in all honesty, it goes back to the same time. I actually owe the vast majority of what I'm doing today to Super Joe Pardo.
Oh,
he's one of the no lies. Let's be honest here. You were one of the first ones. You and Tim Gillette were one of the first ones, and Scott Carson, to give me an opportunity to do virtual presentations in your virtual events. So, in all honesty, no bullshit. Just because we're all on the same channel here right now on the same podcast, I owe the vast majority of what I'm doing today, at least in large part, to Super Joe Pardo, because he gave me that opportunity. And I just continued to build on it. I took every chance I had to present on every virtual stage possible. Then that expanded into live stages. And then, as you've probably seen this year, I've been on countless stages across the country all year long. It's interesting that you mentioned that other conference, because, this will be a pure honesty moment for me. I spoke there at Podcast Movement in August of this year, and recently applied to speak in March. And for some godforsaken unknown reason, they turned me down. So even being everywhere this year has not gotten me in on that particular stage on a consistent basis. So I haven't really told a lot of people about that just yet. But yeah, the fact is they turned me down. So it's interesting. It's a very difficult thing, but I mean, you get those no's, Brett. You alluded to that earlier. We all get the no's. There's definitely been other events outside the podcasting space that I've applied to and gotten no's. And when I got that no a couple of weeks ago from PM, I got to tell you, man, it was a bit of a gut punch. And I've been kicking rocks for about the past 2 weeks, but I finally got to pull my head out of my backside and get back in the mix. But it's just persistence, man. That's it. Get persistence and presenting a quality product, which you have, what you've done. I think as far as the course goes, all you have to do is refine your processes. Start off by maybe creating an outline and just build chapters, and then fill in the blanks with those chapters. Go in and add details to each chapter. But what are some of the steps along the way? I think that'd be a great place for you to start with that. But as far as getting on stages and getting exposure in the industry, it's just that, man. Just keep hammering it out. Just keep hammering it out. Stay persistent. Stay in the game, and don't take no for an answer. So that's my take.
Love it.
I'd be dinging my bell. Ding, ding. If I'd be dinging my bell if I had it right. It's
Ding,
all the way
ding.
across the room, and I didn't want to get up to go dig it out of the drawer. But no, Larry, you crushed it when you did those talks, right? You didn't come at it as a like, oh, I'm a newbie and I'm scared or whatever. So you already knew how to do it. So you earned it, and that sucks. The podcast movement, for evolutions. So you guys got me looking at flights for Podfest. I don't know about podcast movement. That's a little far in the future for me, but it looks like I might come to Podfest.
Joe,
we'll
come
see.
to Podfest. You'll be my
texting.
guest. Come on, you'll be my guest.
I'll be your guest.
Yeah.
That's in January.
I'll be your +1?
Yes, you'll be my +1. Come on.
Oh,
Just don't fly
yeah,
Southwest Airlines.
Yeah, just
well,
don't fly
that
Southwest.
I don't know. For $150 round trip, I think I might do it.
Hopefully they'll have their shit together by then. So
fingers are crossed.
Yeah.
We'll see. It would just be me, so it's not like I gotta
come on, man.
worry
Let's do
about
it. That'd
family
be
and
awesome.
stuff.
Let's
Yeah, I will say I got it. I just whether I'm gonna get it booked. I got to get a room. You got a +1 for your room, Larry?
I don't have a +1 for my room. I apologize for that, but
Oh,
no, I have a staff room. Sorry, so it is what it is. I'd let you stay if it was my room. I would.
Oh,
but,
I didn't know if it was your room. That's
Yeah.
why I was.
Yeah, I mean it's my room, but anyways. So
I can see what the prices are for the room because
maybe we can put you on the floor. We can put a pallet down for you or something. Throw you an extra pillow and a blankie.
I'm not like 18 anymore. In the LAN party days of yester decade.
Bro, I know.
It'd be a different story, but
Awesome. That's funny.
But no, it'd be great. At least I'm sending some text messages and figuring it out as we speak. But
cool.
Brett,
Yeah.
so you worked on Daniel Radcliffe for a year. Who are you working on now?
Oh, I have a bunch of stuff in the bank right now.
Too.
What's that?
Do you feel like you jinx it when you talk about it?
Not well, sometimes maybe, but I mean, I have some network stuff that I've recorded that I can't release until after the first of the year for Amazon Prime, the show Hunters, the final season. I've got some Night Court stuff coming up. Definitely press for NBC's One Chicago Fire and Med. I've got that coming up. But I haven't really put any feelers out necessarily for individual guests at this point because it's the holidays and most people are on break and not answering emails. And if I'm emailing along with everybody else, then it's just going to get buried amongst everything. So I'm focusing on junkets this year, press for major network type stuff. Films is the code I'm cracking. Yeah, and then I mean, you never know. It depends on who might get pitched to me. I've got some emails that I responded to before Christmas, so we'll see. But yeah, Dr. Drew is on my radar for this year. I've kind of been working on that a little bit. Possibly Adam Carolla. We're kind of going back and forth with that. So. But again, the thing is all of this stuff just takes time and lots of conversations and just very much like this talk today, finding time for everybody to get in and do it. A lot of these people, sometimes they just run the other direction when it comes to doing any kind of interviews. So it's just waiting and seeing what happens and saying yes to the right opportunities. But thank you guys. This has been great, and again, all of our success is because of each other. So rising tides lift all boats, right?
1000%.
Sometimes, unless there's a seal there with the corkscrew and he's
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of great
Barnacles. Yeah.
I want to start to wrap this up, so I'm going to let Joe go first. Just whatever you want to say in closing, Joe. And by the way, plug your channel. His channel is awesome. If you guys like Shark Tank, you have to go watch Joe's stuff because it's just great. And one of the best parts about your show are the comments. And then you post the comment. It's hilarious. Joe has his own episode on the Break It Down show too. So if you want to get more about that, do that. So Joe, close out your thoughts.
Well, first off, thank you, Pete, for reaching out. I'm glad I was able to fit this into the schedule and make it happen because that's been one of the downsides to like life in general with kids. It's things have been so tight and running around, especially with the holidays. So I appreciate you reaching out, and I'm glad that I could make it, and I'm appreciative for you, Brett, for wanting to be a part of the icon community and speaking and then taking it and running with it, right? To me, there's no bigger honor than having people that I've gotten to believe in and gotten to know, taking and running with it, right?
Thank
and going and doing the things that I'm not the greatest of all time when it comes to podcasting or anything, but when it comes to leadership and community building, like that, to me it's so important to see the people that I surround myself with go and do great things, and that to me is success. That's what I'm all about, is raising up the people. That's what the whole super part of the Super Joe Pardo is about, is enabling the super in you. And Brett, you are absolutely living it. Larry, you are absolutely living it. Eric is absolutely living it. Pete, you are absolutely living it. You guys, all of you, are just doing great things in the lane in which you have figured out for yourself, and that is important to you. So that I think is enables people to be happy, and I think that at the end of the day is what it's really all about. And why I think that getting to spend so much time watching and learning along with you guys is just a great honor. So thank you for enabling me to be able to be a part of that, a part of your journey and a part of the growth and the success that you guys have, and we get to grow old and do these things, and look back and have like great conversations about how like nobody believed in me and nobody did this and nothing was happening, and then we did it. Larry, I cherish the time that we got to talk all the time. I miss it. I really do, because there was a lot of great conversations that came out, a lot of self-development that came out of that time. And I think it was very necessary. I don't know about for you, but for me, it was very necessary at that time, because of where I was and didn't want to necessarily slip back into a position that ultimately I did. I'm here, but I'm more in control of my destiny now and my direction now than I ever was prior to that. No matter how much I wanted to believe it. So getting to spend that time with you really, helped a lot. And Eric, man, I know Eric's not here, but if he's watching or listening, there were so many amazing conversations I got to have with Eric over these last several years. I mean, even the name of my conference wouldn't be Independent Podcast Conference; it'd still be Middle Atlantic Podcast Conference if I didn't have those conversations with Eric. So grateful for all of you guys, and Pete. It's been amazing to watch your growth, and not just getting to do interviews, but getting to bring people together in this aspect. Makes me proud to know that the people that I've surrounded myself with, like, they care as much as I care.
Yeah,
not just about the stuff, but the people. And that's really what it's all about. So you can check me out over at Super Joe Pardo on pretty much every social media platform, youtube.com/Super Joe Pardo. You can go to joepardo.com or superjoepardo.com to get all of my stuff there. Shark Tank reaction videos. We're doing a lot more live streaming now. That's turned into a fun thing. Doing, I did a 3.5 hour live stream from the Christmas Eve into Christmas Eve. with people from all over the planet watching. Like, I don't know, we had like 30 plus people watching, and I was playing Fortnite and we're answering questions and helping people with with their business. It's just so awesome. It's just an absolute honor that something that I've loved and have wanted to do, which is bring people together and help people since I was a kid, getting to do it on a bigger and bigger and bigger platform, and yet still getting to have those relationships one-on-one is just phenomenal and something I don't want to ever change. So thank you, Pete, for the opportunity.
No worries. Larry?
I don't know what to say after Joe said everything. I mean, he just said it all, honestly, man. This is amazing. But, honestly, I feel the same way Joe does, in all honesty. It's been so amazing over the last 3.5 years to watch each and every one of us grow in our own individual ways. I figured out that I couldn't land an audience with a podcast, so I went back to the stage and started speaking there to find some success. So nobody wants to listen to me in their ear pods, but they'll listen to me from the stage. So fuck it, that's what I'll do. But it was amazing, and I wouldn't even be here today, honestly, on this podcast right now, if I hadn't run into Pete in California. I was out there with Podfest. We did a little meetup, and it just happened to be about 10 minutes, if even that far, 5 minutes from Pete's house. And Pete came out and said hi. I saw him in the audience there. We went out and we ended up talking for 15, 20 minutes in the restaurant by ourselves and just catching up. And since then, he brought me on his show, and now he brought me back today to have the opportunity to say hi to Brett and say hi to Joe and say hi to Eric and just bring everybody back together. And it was just amazing.
Yeah.
It has been tremendously fun watching Brett, you grow and continue to grow in what you're doing. I envy you. You do have that determination and that persistence that's required to do exactly what you're doing. And you demonstrate that. And I would love to work with you on the side about how we can put together a course for you, because I think you have some opportunities there that we need to leverage. And by we, I mean you. But Joe, it's great. Yeah, definitely. Joe, it's great watching you do your thing, man. I've watched your YouTube channel grow from, I don't remember where it was when we started, but it was small.
300 subs.
Yeah, somewhere in that neighborhood. And now, where are you at today? I haven't even looked recently.
11,400 something.
Jesus.
450,
So you've gained 11,000 subs in 18 to 24 months-ish, something like that. So it's been amazing to watch you find that niche and watch that niche take off. I mean, I had the pleasure of joining you on a couple of Shark Tank.
And we got to get you back on there.
And that was fun.
I had a blast doing that. I love playing the heel, so I'm always down for that. So that was always a lot of fun. And Pete, man, thank you so much for bringing me on. Again, it was great meeting you out in California in person. Finally, I love Brett. We've never met in person, have we? I don't think we have.
It's always been virtually.
Yeah, we got to make that happen. So hopefully, if you're doing the podcast movement thing later on this or next year, then we'll meet there. I'd love to meet you. So that would be awesome. But great seeing Eric, catching up with him as well. So thank you once again, Pete. Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Brett. Thanks, Eric. Thanks, everybody, for helping me along this amazing journey. And I look forward to seeing what the new year brings each and every one of us.
Yes.
Larry, my wife would watch the show when you were on it, just so you know. She doesn't offer to watch it anymore. Because she knows what I'm going to say. She doesn't know what you're going to say.
Yeah, nobody knows what I'm going to say. That's the scary part. So, yeah, bring me on, dude. We'll do it.
All right, man. We got to make that happen.
What are your final thoughts, Brett? And then I'll run the credits.
Great time. Love you guys. Again, all the support. And I would be remiss without mentioning Jason Piccolo, because I had him on my virtual conference and he gave me the keys to the kingdom to connect with public relations, IMDb Pro. I had no idea before I met him. And because of that, I've been able to connect and get in touch with people and build this very great world of celebrity interviews. So shout out to Jason for dropping that wisdom, because he was booking celebs and getting people on, before I was able to crack the code. And I would even message Pete and say, how are you getting this? And Pete would always throw me a bone, and I try to vice versa. So thanks, everybody. This has been a lot of fun. It really made my day. And Larry will be in touch, and Joe too, just to sort of figure out how we can put a course together and help other people out. But Brett Allan Show, just Google it and all of my interviews will come. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't yet, and we'll see what's next. Who knows? You never know.
Hey, can I jump back in there real quick, Pete?
Yeah.
because I'm going to get in a lot of trouble. I was supposed to tell you where to find me,
That's
and
right.
I just launched a brand new podcast with my co-host Mark Ronick. It's called Podcast PhD, where you can get your PhD in podcasting with Mark and me. We actually have a soft launch. It's already out there on audio only, so you can find it on all your favorite podcast players. And we'll actually be doing the real launch. January 11th is the actual go live date. So we'll be doing a YouTube channel, also Podcast PhD. So check it out. Please follow the channel and subscribe to the show and all that fun stuff, so Mark and I can teach you how to do a little podcasting on your own.
I'm going to roll the credits if you guys want to hang out in the after room hangout. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in about 20 seconds. Hey, thanks for watching the show. I really appreciate it. Right here, you can subscribe. Please do that. It makes the show grow. Hit that notification bell so you know which incredible guest is coming up next. Down below is the PayPal link. You can put a small subscription in. That is an enormous help. All that money goes right back into the show. And then right up over here are the next episodes you should listen to, curated by yours truly.